Alright, what's going on, guys? G.Casey here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast. This one's going to be between two of my teammates, so I'm pretty excited to cast this, and let's go ahead and introduce the purple Zerg player in the top portion of KTV Ganymede. He is TechFour. And in the bottom portion of KTV Ganymede, spawning as the teal Terran player, he is Pragmatic. I think that's teal. Could be pink. I'm severely colorblind to the point where I never am sure if this is teal or pink. I'm going to go with teal, though, and you guys can laugh at me all game if I'm wrong. So yeah, this is an interesting map. This one's going to be on KTV Ganymede, and I can only assume that this is a practice match for the All Invitational 7, which is a internal tournament my team is running right now. And this map is the first map of the series for every player that's playing in it. So a lot of people are practicing on this map and, just trying to get the gist of it. Now, these two players, TechFour and Pragmatic, are not in the same group. I made sure to double check that, so I know for sure that this is not an actual tournament game. This is just a practice match. Now, something to point out here, TechFour is the Diamond Zerg player, and Pragmatic is the Gold Terran player. So this is a Diamond versus Gold matchup, which is going to be a little bit imbalanced skill-wise, I think. But Pragmatic has shown lots of signs of improvement. He's got 500 APM going right now. Oh my god, what are you doing? 500 APM. I can't even get that high if I tried, I don't think. Just tons of APM there from Pragmatic. He's got the potential to move into Platinum and Diamond leagues for sure, and I've seen him cause problems for some of our other Diamond players on our team. So it's not necessarily going to be incredibly one-sided. Drone scouting is TechFour. We're going to get a look and see if there's any early shenanigans happening on Pragmatic's side of the base, but he's going to spot that everything looks completely normal. And now he's walled in, so you were trapped drone. You are not going anywhere. Meanwhile, expansion going down first into gas, into pool. So definitely greedy here. If Pragmatic were to send a Reaper or two over there, things might be a little bit hairy. But he's actually going Marine first, and he's going to use that Marine to take out this drone. But the door is open. That drone's going to try to get away. Trying to body block is that Marine, but actually that drone is going to escape. So, well done, drone. Let's follow you for a little bit. So yeah, KTV Ganymede is an interesting map for sure. I think the base layout is pretty standard. I mean, you got your natural here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Shift-C, that's it. And there's a nice little choke here that you can defend your base in. And then you move out and you slide over to the left. You can take this base here as your third, or you can take this one down here as your third. In fact, they're even labeled. I didn't even realize that. 2 for your second base. This is your third base. This is your fourth. Is there even a 5 here? No, okay. No, just not numbers. But anyway, I actually just realized that now. The bases are labeled for you, so you know which one you're supposed to take. Zergling speed going down here for TechFour, and pulling out of gas, so he's only going to have that Zergling speed for defense, and he's going to focus on economy after that. Factory going down with a reactor already built on this barracks here for Pragmatic, and he's getting into a second gas now. I'm going to move into a little bit more of a tech-heavy play, I think. Getting the second gas so early tells me that he's definitely planning on building a starport and maybe some tech lab units on these factories and starports later. We'll have to see for sure, though. We'll wait. Couple Zerglings coming out here, 8 to be exact, from TechFour. Looks like he's going to try to get a little bit of pressure done with these Zerglings. I thought he was going to go for an economy-based play after pulling out of gas, but instead he's just making so many Zerglings, and they're timed pretty well here with Zergling speed, so by the time they get across the map, they will have speed, and they'll have a nice speed advantage against any units that are out here. Even if there are 3 Marines, these guys are going to go down pretty quickly to these speedlings. So let's go ahead. As they hit the natural, speed kicks in. They're going to skyrocket right in the base here. Oh my god, speed, hurry up and kick in. There we go. Now it kicks in. Able to get a surround on these Marines very easily. And even on the ramp here, getting surrounds on the Marines and on the Hellions. Luckily for Pragmatic, that command center was able to finish building, as now he's going to be able to lift it off and it's going to be safe there. These Zerglings doing a little bit of damage and forcing delayed mining on the natural here, but they're not going to be able to do too much else other than that. This is so many Zerglings, holy crap. I mean, in this case, why wouldn't you just stay in gas and get a Baneling Nest? I think you can Bane bust this pretty easily here. and get right in there. But now you got a whole bunch of Zerglings standing outside the natural. Pragmatic doing the smart thing, going to move the command center in and probably turn it into an orbital command because it's not going to be able to land out here anytime soon at all. Tech Lab is going on this starport, so Banshee going to be in production here. And finally, we got some drones coming in here for TechFour. Was he able to spot that when he busted up the ramp? Yes, he did spot the starport. Not the Tech Lab, but he can probably assume, or at least it's just a safe play to build those spore crawlers. Spreading overlords around, trying to find some drops that could be coming out from Pragmatic or some Banshees that'll be heading along the way. Now getting double gas. Looks like he's going to go take that third base. He's taking it on the fourth base marker, so this is wrong, TechFour. You're not supposed to do this, even the map tells you. But he's going to go ahead and do it. It's a little bit of an aggressive third base because it brings you closer to the Terran player, which, you know, in most cases is good for the Terran player because he's parade pushing across the map and going to be able to get there faster. But also your speedlings and your speed roaches and things can get across the map faster for yourselves as well. Banshee coming out, going to take some pot shots at these Zerglings. These Hellions got to be incredibly careful. They were actually able to skirt past the Zerglings, but were then just ignored by the Zerglings. So TechFour going to run all the way home with these Lings and just play defense for now while he drones up. He is getting a Baneling nest. I expect we're going to be seeing a lair starting soon here, just as 100 gas has been mined. And there it is, in the natural. So moving into a Baneling style of play. Going to get a couple Evo chambers as well to help block off those Hellions. And trying to be as active as he can with these Lings. I mean, he has so many Zerglings that he might, even with this amount of Hellions, he might be able to come in and actually do something with them. But looks like he's just more worried about just having map presence and, you know, keeping Pragmatic back at home. Meanwhile, what is Pragmatic doing? He's building a third command center here. We're still not sure if it's going to be mech or bio. Actually, getting some Vikings out this early does sort of lean towards mech, especially when tanks are being produced here. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a couple factories going down soon, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Right now, he's pretty heavily supply blocked, waiting on these supply depots to finish up. And TechFour getting his third base. Lair is finishing up. I'm expecting that we're going to see a Spire go down. And if this is a mech... Oh, it's a Roach Warren. Okay. So, Roach Warren... here we go. We do have the... oh, actually, that looked like two factories, but it's actually not. So, TechFour going into a Roach Warren here. Maybe he's going for some sort of Zergling, Baneling, Roach play, which is pretty smart, making 16 workers at a time. You're going to easily be able to saturate his third base. And it doesn't look like Pragmatic is moving out to try to pressure that at all. And of course, right as I say that, we have a little bit of a move out here. These Hellions could do really well until these Roaches come out. So, like to see Pragmatic be a little bit more active with these Hellions across the map. I mean, they'll be able to take out these Zerglings nice and easy. We're going to see that right here as a bunch of Zerglings roast to the ground instantly and run back home with their tails between their legs. If these Hellions were here, they'd be able to get a lot of drone kills. They can even come over here and harass this fourth base. There's really nothing to deal with them now until these Roaches actually pop. 10 Roaches are on the way, though, so if these Hellions decide to move in now, they're going to be a little bit late, which is unfortunate for Pragmatic because this could have been a good opportunity for him to even up the worker count, and he's pretty far behind right now. I don't think he realized that this ramp was walled off. He's kind of stuck over here in the corner. But let's see. Here we go. Extra factories going down. He's getting a third and a fourth one as well. Getting a lot of Hellbats. I'd like to see Blue Flame being researched. It's probably going to be researched soon. And he's getting mech upgrades as well. So he's going to have a pretty strong mech army here. And taking that third command center. This is going pretty well. I'd say both players are pretty happy here. As the Hellions try to get a run by into the third base. There's no Roaches here yet. Focusing on the Queen, which was a little bit of a misplay, I think, from Pragmatic. He does manage to pick off a few workers. 10 workers go down. Could have been so much more, though, from Pragmatic. But overall, a nice play, and he does get out of there with most of his Hellions alive. Considering they're going to be the bulk of his army here, I think it's a pretty nice play. He does get 10 worker kills, does sort of annoy TechFour a little bit, force him to make 10 more drones, but overall, it's not really game-ending damage, of course, for TechFour. He's going to remake those drones. He's getting his missile upgrades, and he's moving into Hydra Den as well. Getting a lair, or a hive, sorry, incredibly fast here. So he was able to spot that it was going to be mech nice and early here. And he's getting what he needs in order to deal with that. Turret's going down here for Pragmatic. +1 about to finish for his mech army. And he's trying to be as active as he can with these Hellions. When you're playing mech, the Hellions are the most disposable unit in your composition. If you can throw Blue Flame on those guys and have them roam the map like Pragmatic is doing right now and just pick off drones, like you can sacrifice 6 to 8 Hellions to get like 16 worker kills because minerals mean nothing to you. As a mech player, it's all about the gas. So really like to see Pragmatic get on this gas a lot faster so he can afford to make all these tanks, get all these upgrades, make all these Vikings, you know, because you see he's really low on gas right now, but he's high in minerals. So you can, while you're trying to bank up your really expensive gas-heavy mech army, you can use these mineral units to just sort of roam the map and try to get as much damage done as you can. Right now, though, Pragmatic looking like he's focusing on other things. Well, TechFour able to get up a pretty decent Roach Hydra army here. +2 is just about to be finished. He's already got Hive. As the Hellions are moving in now, no Blue Flame mean it's going to take some extra shots to get these drones down, and he's focusing on this Queen, which is really too bad because, yeah, he might end up killing the Queen. Actually, no, he's just going to run right by and attack this Evo Chamber for a little bit. Going to get sandwiched in by the Roach Hydra army and end up losing all his Hellions. Now Blue Flame starts, and I think he's realizing, like, shit, if I had that Blue Flame earlier, I could have done so much damage. Also could have morphed him into Hellbats to do even more damage against these drones. So overall, almost no drones went down there. Maybe 4 go down in that engagement, and the Queen gets severely hurt. If you focus on those drones, you can do a lot more damage that way. So hopefully Pragmatic can do that in the future because he's had opportunities here to do a crazy amount of damage, but hasn't been able to capitalize. Zerglings run in here, able to pick off a tank actually. That's pretty cost efficient. And the Roaches and Hydras are trying to find a position here to take down this command center wall. And they will be able to take this one down and maybe even this one over here. There's only one tank within firing range. TechFour got to be careful though, moving into tank range here, trying to pick off as many expensive units as he can, but these Hellbats are doing so much splash damage. And Pragmatic able to defend pretty easily against this SCV, hurrying over to try to repair this command center. You're not repairing it, but these guys are, so that's going to stay alive. And TechFour runs back once again. Tails between his legs, unable to crack that mech composition. And more command centers going down here for Pragmatic to try to spend those minerals. Got to get those extra workers and gas up here so you can afford those tanks, man. +3 is already on the way for the Roaches and Hydras. So pretty soon TechFour is going to be like he's already maxed out, and pretty soon he's going to have 3 Roaches and Hydras, and that's pretty early. Lots of Hydras in this composition though, so he's got to be careful not to take too much tank fire, and that's obviously what Pragmatic is hoping for, that the Roaches and Hydras just attack right into his mech. He's almost at the point now where he's maxed out and he can move out. And here comes some Hydras. And take out these rocks to sort of widen up the choke area. Coming on in, trying to take out these tanks. Tanks going down pretty quickly, but also the Roaches and Hydras taking lots of fire. Hellbats with Blue Flames doing tons of damage here. The Thors are not going to be too helpful, as are the Vikings. And the SCV's being pulled off the line, eventually going to be able to clean this up. But there were quite a few workers going down in that engagement, up to 12 at this point, and a lot of expensive units for Pragmatic died. And Roaches and Hydras are easy to max out on, or to remax out on, I mean, where tanks and Thors take much longer. Roaches coming in from all angles. There's bases all over the place too for TechFour, which is the right response. I mean, besides Hellions, Pragmatic really can't split his army up too much to attack multiple locations, so you just take bases all over the place, and you know, just whenever you see the mech army moving to one of those locations, you can either move around it and attack Terran at home, or you can just set up a good engagement against the mech army if you want to do it that way too. Pragmatic has a lot of tanks and a lot of Hellbats here. Greater Spire coming on down For TechFour, it looks like he's going to be transitioning into some Broodlords, but he's got to free up some supply then if he wants to get some Corruptors out, because right now there are no Corruptors out, and only one Viper as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see TechFour move like about half of this army around somewhere to try to get some nice easy damage done and sacrifice those units so he can free up some supply. +3/+3 is now finished. For Pragmatic, he is working on +3 attack as well for his mech, so he's going to be having an incredibly strong army as the Roaches and Hydras are coming in here. Blinding Cloud goes down, not really too effective as these tanks in the back are still firing. A lot of the Roaches and Hydras are just dying so fast, and that was a huge sacrifice, but remaxing on 40 Roaches here is TechFour going to be trying to get only Roaches. I'd like to see some Corruptors coming out soon if you want to get some Broodlords, and here we go, 6 Corruptors on the way out, but that has spent all of TechFour's gas, as he has a pretty heavy gas income, so he's going to be able to get that back nice and quick, but overall, remaxing on that costs him quite a bit of gas. Pragmatic looking like he wants to move out now. He's got a sizable army here, +3 attack, not quite finished yet, but looks like he's just setting up a position over here on this platform. And TechFour wants none of that. He wants to wait for his Broodlords to finish. Scans going down. Pragmatic really looking for an engagement, I think. He's got to be careful. He's got some tanks sieged up in the back, though, so these Roaches are going to be taking a lot of damage. And just like that, pretty much all the Roaches go down. A couple Thors and a couple tanks go down, but overall, very cost-efficient trade for Pragmatic, and he's got a massive supply lead right now. As 24 more Roaches, 9 Hydras, these are really not cutting it for TechFour, and this base is going to be under fire. Pragmatic doing a really good job making mech work in this matchup right now, as he's going to be able to take out this base and kill a lot of the drones mining from it as well. And I think he's going to realize that there's a base below him as well, which is incredibly isolated. A few Roaches picking off some forward tanks there. Nice pickup from TechFour. Hopefully Pragmatic realizes there's a base down here and he can close in on it because it's incredibly isolated. Be very easy for him to just pick that off. But he's actually moving in the other direction, so I'm not sure if he caught on that there was a base over there. But still, with the supply advantage, with the mech army as cost efficient as this can be, things are looking pretty good for Pragmatic, and TechFour has to solve this puzzle here. He's making a lot of Corruptors and he's getting some Broodlords out on the field. I think that's, Broodlords will be helpful. There are some Vikings on the field, but really not that many. Only 3 actually, so, it might take a while for Pragmatic to catch on that he needs a reactor on this starport, I think, if he wants to start shooting out a lot of Vikings. He's getting a lot of Thors, and Thors are going to be okay against the Broodlords, but against the Roaches and Hydras, they're not going to be very good. So I think that TechFour will probably be able to take out those Thors relatively quickly, unless they're well positioned behind like this crazy planetary fortress wall and wall of siege tanks. I mean, this is one of the most defensible areas that you'll ever see in a StarCraft match. Planetaries everywhere, and this goes to show you exactly how mineral heavy you get as a mech player playing mech as Terran, and that's why he can afford all these command centers. He's doing a really good job trying to spend his minerals in the best way possible. Now this scouting forward tank is going to spot that Broodlords are a thing now, so I think that Pragmatic can transition into Vikings a little bit heavier now. But TechFour looking like he's on the warpath here, wants to try to get some damage done, but he's going to be attacking into one of the worst possible places here, as this wall is incredibly well built. Now, turrets are going to go down easy to these 3 Broodlords. These tanks as well are going to be taking lots of damage from these Broodlords, and Corruptors are supporting in case Vikings want to jump into the fray. So these Broodlords, there's only 3 of them, but they're doing really well. Finally, Pragmatic realizes he has to jump in on this, but there's enough Corruptors to force back all the Vikings. So no Broodlords go down yet, and they're just going ham. These Thors might be in position, but see, getting surrounded by the Broodlings is something that happens to Thors, and they're really not that good against Broodlords. 1 command center going down in the wall. All this is 3 Broodlords. There's not enough Vikings on the field here for Pragmatic. Finally, built another starport, and going to try to get as many Vikings as he can out here. But until that happens, these planetaries are going to be going down. And I love this decision from TechFour, only making 3 Broodlords. He's not overcommitting. A lot of times you'll see people just make like 8 Broodlords, and then there's no Corruptors to sort of back up. So even if Vikings do come out, things are going to be pretty tough here for Pragmatic. SCVs repairing the Planetary Fortress is a good idea. It's going to take a while for these to go down. But the Broodlords are just focusing on the SCVs now. Sensor towers everywhere, by the way, so Prag can see what's going on. Got to be really careful. A lot of Thors getting on top of these Corruptors here, doing some good damage. Roaches coming in, jumping on a lot of these exposed siege tanks. Planetary Fortress going down. But there's still so many tanks here that these Roaches are eventually going to end up dying. Broodlord's being morphed right in Pragmatic's face. This is actually pretty dangerous for TechFour. He's probably going to lose these, to be honest, if he doesn't cancel and run away. Yeah, these Broodlords are not going to be able to finish. So much damage coming in from these stores. They do have +3 attack now, so they are very strong. A couple Broodlords managed to get away, though. And overall, that was an incredibly good trade from TechFour. Even though he attacked right into the most heavily defended area, 3 Broodlords was all it took to just take down the defenses and get some cost-efficient trades against the mech army, which is really well done. Now more Broodlords and more Roaches coming in here, trying to kill off these tanks. There's not as many tanks as there were before. So this is actually going to be relatively easy for TechFour to bust through here. There's still 3 planetaries, though. So I think he wants to position himself maybe closer over to the right here and come in from down here where he can easily get an attack off on this planetary. But he's going to jump on it right now and going to be able to take it down. No repair going down until it's too late. Planetary goes down. Roaches are free to fight with the Thors. And overall, Roaches do relatively well versus Thors. But these planetaries are still doing lots of damage. So like I said, like the most heavily defended area here is not really where TechFour wants to be attacking into. He's going to be able to take out one of the mining bases, though, from Pragmatic, and remaxing on 17 Corruptors here. Really trying to go almost like Air Zerg. And oh my god, this base has 24 SCVs mining on it, and the Roaches found it. Going to be forcing a fight with SCVs. All of these SCVs are going to be going down. And then all the Roaches as well are going to have a hard time escaping out of here. He actually did not kill the command center. And Thors are not relatively good against Roaches, but when you have like 6 Thors, it's actually not too bad. So all the Roaches get cleaned up, and even more Corruptors coming out of TechFour here. Something worth noting, behind all this, TechFour has done a great job making sure he is mining efficiently from all these extra bases, taking bases all over the map as well. So his income is always going to be pretty good, where right now Pragmatic's income is really not that good. And he's not even close to maxed out right now, but he feels like he has to get some damage done. And I think that he probably does, but I'd also like to see him just make a ton more Hellions here. Spend those minerals any way you can. Send the Hellions all around the map, picking off all these bases that have pretty much no defense. Like, all of these bases for TechFour are undefended. So the Hellbats would be pretty good at, at splitting TechFour up and forcing him to make some hard decisions. But here we go. The Thors are in a pretty tough position here, getting themselves sandwiched in. Broodlords going at it here. Going to be able to pick off at least a few of these Thors, but the Vikings are getting picked off by the Corruptors as well. So, I don't know. This is a pretty sketchy engagement for both players. Going to be pretty tough for both of them to get anything really cost-efficient done here. A lot of Broodlords going down, but the Corruptors are doing a great job defending against these Vikings and clearing out all the Vikings in the air. So now these Broodlords are able to take out all the tanks, and things looked a little bit skeptical at first, but as soon as all the Vikings went down and the Broodlords focused down on the Thors, which were the only things that could actually hurt them, they all go down, and now TechFour remains standing here with a lot of Corruptors and a lot of Broodlords. And Pragmatic is sort of reeling a little bit from that loss as he's trying to regroup here, making a lot of Hellbats, making Thors, making Vikings once again. I think he's identified he's going up against a sort of Sky Zerg style of play. TechFour, though, his army supply is much larger than Pragmatic is at this point now. So he's looking for a hole, somewhere where he can attack and actually kill off some command centers and really hurt Pragmatic's economy here, because it's still pretty good. I mean, look at this. His gas is incredibly low, and this is why you need to start taking these gases, getting SCVs in those gases over here as well. There we go. Nicely done. Trying to rebuild this command center as well and get some gas going. If you want to go mech, you need that gas, as I've said multiple times. But in the meantime, find some way to build, to use these minerals, and maybe make a couple more factories and get some reactors on them so you can just make a ton of Hellions. Here we go. TechFour has found a mining base that is actually blocked off here. So the Broodlords are in a pretty good position, forcing the Siege Tanks and Hellbats back. And the Corruptors are like, alright, let's just go ahead and make sure that we can zone you out, and you cannot attack me while I try to kill off this command center. And that's exactly what's happening here. This command center is going down. All the SCVs going down as well. There's nothing really Pragmatic can do about it. There goes that command center. And now Pragmatic is just thinking like, okay, well, I got to defend somehow. So he's going to try to defend this base, I think. But he doesn't have enough Vikings. And even if he did have enough Vikings, these Corruptors are countering them too hard. So another command center going to go down here. All the Vikings are taken out of the sky, so these Broodlords can really do whatever they want. Right away, as soon as Vikings show up, they just go down. There's only one Thor here, so focus down that Thor. It goes down, and now there's absolutely nothing that can kill off these Broodlords, and Pragmatic is just really in a bad spot here. All the tanks going down, and the Broodlords are going to be able to deal with this planetary fortress wall pretty well. There's no Vikings to support, so all TechFour has to really do is just move into this general direction. I think he's going to be okay. Take a look at all the bases all over the place here. Each of them mining gas. This is where the Diamond League comes in here for TechFour, able to manage many bases at once while also putting an attack on and building the correct unit composition to counter what his opponent is doing. +3 flyer attack coming through as well for these Corruptors, and he's basically just trying to catch any of these Vikings as they spawn here with these Corruptors and zone Pragmatic out. Another planetary fortress going down, and what used to be the most defensible area in the entire game is now busted down. Broodlords coming in, doing some damage to these Hellbats, getting these Thors low as well. There's no Vikings, as I keep saying, to support the mech army for Pragmatic, so this is just going to be pretty much a walkover as Pragmatic GG's. Now, one thing worth noting though, it was a really well played game from Pragmatic all the way up until the point until TechFour decided to transition into a sort of Skyzerg style of play, but he really had TechFour on the back ropes for quite a while, and I think all he had to do was just be more active with his Hellions and make more Hellions as well, so that you can roam around the map. Like I said before, all of these bases are undefended. I mean, the Skyzerg style of play is almost like the mech. It's like mech. It's really slow, and it's really slow to respond to Hellions that are really fast and can move all over the place and just take out all these drones. So I think if you work that into your play a little bit, you'll be able to come back and you know, keep the Zerg player from advancing on you with Broodlords and Corruptors. But I'm not really a Terran expert. That's just kind of what I picked up from casting this game. But overall, it was a very interesting game. Thank you very much to TechFour for sending me this replay. And thank you, Pragmatic, for playing the game with TechFour. So I have this replay to cast. As I've said, guys, if you want me to cast your replays, remember to email them to me at g.caseysc2@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to cast them for you. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys later.